Hey, welcome to Film Fanatics. My name is Dan.
My name is Justin.
And I'm Joe.
This week, Seth Rogen and crew are back to take on a sorority this time in Neighbors 2. Those Angry Birds get an animated film, and Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling are the nice guys. First up, though, it is Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising, and Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne are back in this as Mac and Kelly Radner, whose little girl is now about 2, and with another one on the way, they're selling their house for a bigger place. But it's currently in escrow, which means the buyers can back out within 30 days if they find something defective with the house or, for that matter, the neighborhood. Enter Shelby, played by Chloe Grace Moretz, and her female friends, college freshmen, who decide to start their own sorority when the frat parties on campus make them feel very uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Zac Efron's Teddy is feeling not needed when he gets kicked out of his own apartment to make room for his marrying friends. So he teams up with Moretz to make the sorority work, and at the same time take another bite out of Mac and Kelly. And then, as you might have gleaned from the previews, the tables turn for Teddy, and he joins the adult side. I think we all were sort of on the moderate side of Neighbors 1.
About right.
Yeah.
Nobody was gushing about it, but no real horrible reviews.
No.
This one's largely a retread of, that film. I think some of the best bits here, like in the first one, involve the sabotage plots that make the first one so funny. But the entire script for this one I thought was largely nonsensical to any sort of real-world experience. And I can't necessarily say that entirely for the first one. I think the humor's about on par here with that film. Possibly funnier even because a relative absence of weed jokes, and there's more humor here based on the characters' personalities, who we now kind of know through 2 movies. But Rose Byrne, again, I think steals the comedy show completely. Most scenes she's in, she is a highlight. And really anybody with even a couple of lines in the first one reappears at least in a cameo here, so that was kind of nice for fans of the series. So, for me it was about generally on par. What did you guys think?
Well, I'm pretty much in agreement with you on this one. I thought the first one was pretty funny. This one is pretty much the same thing, just with girls this time. It really is almost an identical movie, which, I mean...
There's a little spin.
A little bit, but it's really basically the same thing. And that kind of makes me wonder, how do you judge it when it's about on par, when it's basically doing the exact same thing, which a lot of sequels do. I think Rogen's funny, Byrne's funny.
Together, yeah, Rogen's really good in this.
They have a good comedy duo, I thought. Efron's good in it as well. I mean, he's actually one of the few roles I really enjoy him in. I think he's playing at his own strengths.
I do think it's one of his better film roles.
He's funny. And
it's a pretty short list, though.
He hasn't been in that many movies, period, I guess.
Yeah.
But, you got Hairspray, you've got 17 again.
You have We Are Your Friends.
I thought he was fine in We Are Your Friends. The movie was average, but I thought he did a good job in it.
Okay, I guess that's
fair. I can't really say much for that, but... Yeah, I agree, Joe. I think this is a good character for him.
I think it's also refreshing to see Chloe Grace Moretz play a girl that's, a normal person.
True.
And I thought she actually fit well in it, so it's not like the most spectacular performance, but it was seamless for her. I thought she was believable.
Well, she usually doesn't do, broad comedy.
Exactly.
So
that's trying her hand at something new, which I thought she was a good fit. But, the thing is, while it was enjoyable, it certainly doesn't add anything new.
I'm not entirely sure if I agree with that. I mean, they definitely try to take a little bit of a feminist spin with this, and I think...
It's true.
I think the first, I want to say third of this movie gets a little heavy-handed with it, but once it sort of settles into itself, it pairs itself off with the sort of Neighbors flair that I think brings it to life. I think, personally, Rogen and Byrne kind of got benched a little bit in this one, but the antics, I think, were a step up. I think they were... I don't want to say less cartoonish, but more frenetic and enjoyable. The airbag gag, I personally thought from the first one got a little old. This one, I think they find a better way to play it off, and they don't make the... I think it does a better job pairing itself with that Greek community and sort of the antics that fall within that, bringing up a lot of pertinent issues. And I think Moretz finally gets the opportunity to, as you mentioned, Joe, stop playing this sort of damsel in distress love interest that she's sort of been shoehorned into. Thank you, every single YA abduction she's been a part of ever.
Unfortunately.
We'll always have Kick-Ass, I guess, but...
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
It was, for better or for worse. We can't speak fondly of 2, but that is what it is.
I think she's done a lot more than that, though. I mean, other than Kick-Ass, she was in Dark Shadows, which is not a YA adapt, and neither was Carrie.
But soap opera and bad remake. But
still, I mean, Fifth Wave is the only YA, and what's the If I Stay?
If I Stay,
That's
yeah.
the only two I can really pigeonhole her with.
She's had a couple roles where she's gotten to really shine and try different things, and I'll just done a lot of the YA
Like Hugo.
adaptations. They don't have as much. Yeah, Hugo's a good example. But the point is, she ends up in roles where I don't think she is challenged or used as well as she could be, and maybe she doesn't have her heart put into it.
That was one of my problems with Clouds of Souls Maria.
Yeah,
but no, I think it's sort of an attempt to try and not go the Dakota Fanning route, where more and more adult roles you sort of forget to be a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think this is a little bit of a split the difference, and I think it works. I actually thought this one was funnier than the original, to be honest with you.
Oh wow.
Unfortunately, I do have to say one of the biggest issues I had with this was I literally called the ending probably 20 minutes into the movie, and I was like, "Please tell me this is not how they're going to resolve it." Oh wait. It makes sense.
No, it doesn't. The ending makes no sense.
Well, that was,
in a real world scenario, the ending makes no sense.
That's one thing I was gonna bring
up.
And
that I didn't like.
The one issue I had with the movie really that bugged me was the ending.
Yeah.
Because I thought like their resolution for how they kind of
in their
broke
world
differences.
It makes sense, but
I guess for the movie,
I know, but this is
I just thought it was way too easy and too quick.
if you're
it was
well,
like
that too.
It was like, oh, all right.
Yes, it was.
This is over now. It's not a big deal. Like after everything, I think it shouldn't have resolved quite as neatly.
When I say that, Justin, what I mean is like if these are real world characters facing real world situations. Obviously, it's a broad comedy, so there's going to be a lot of things that never would really happen in the real world.
Naturally.
But to take full-on leaps of logic, I struggle with sometimes, Like in Bad Teacher, I think we can all agree that movie on the whole is sort of... Joe, you probably haven't seen it, but,
Oh, actually, I did. With
Cameron Diaz and
I watched
Timberlake,
it It's funny, yeah.
I like it. It's very funny. But nothing would ever, happen, and these are supposed to be real people in the real world, is what I'm saying.
I mean, to varying degrees, though. I mean, Neighbors has never been exactly Captain Realism here. One or two, for that matter.
It is supposed to be pretty outrageous.
Yeah. I mean...
It
exaggerated.
Is, but I mean, right, it's exaggerated, but most things that happen in the first one, on an exaggerated level, could happen. The ending of this film just makes no sense in any world.
Okay, to be fair, the ending to the original didn't make a whole lot of sense either.
Refresh my memory?
Goes to jail and magically becomes better person of sorts.
Many people go to jail and become a better person.
Yeah, could happen.
I mean, this was one of our biggest issues with it from the original review. I just want to bring it.
What, that he went to jail and was a better person?
No. Like, oh wait, so all this stuff happens. There's like a weird time jump, and
forgiven.
Yeah, all is forgiven. Bygones be bygones.
Well,
it's like, really?
There was kind of an
But
epilogue.
there was a time jump.
That's true.
I think that makes more sense than anything that happens in the last 20 minutes of this movie, to be honest.
The currency is also really annoying to me, too.
Well,
Yes.
that's
X amount of money. How do you quantify
We have
X
a barrel.
Yeah,
That could
I
be-
don't understand the
that could be comprised entirely of ones.
I was like, well, hundreds ones, do you get variable rent, consistent, but that really annoyed me.
Yeah, that was weird, especially with its relation to the ending of the film.
Yeah.
But to get back on track, I do agree with Justin, Joe. I think this movie does add a little bit of something that the first movie didn't have.
A little bit.
I also agree that there's probably so much going on that Rogen and Byrne are sort of supporting characters or in their own movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of three plots going on. Mm-hmm. I would have liked to have seen more of Lisa Kudrow in this one. She was in 2 scenes in the first one. She gets like half of a scene in this.
I mean,
Hannibal Buress is the police officer. He gets a funny cameo scene, but he was also very funny in the first one.
I mean, in the defense of the whole Kudrow pick, she's only really had one note to play in the entire franchise up to this point, and it's funny, but it's
that's because they've only given her three scenes.
I mean, if they were
throughout
going to
2
bring her
movies.
back, it was basically going to be a callback to that joke. So,
Well, I think they could have added something. I liked her character.
She is barely in it, though. I forgot about
She really is. She shows up very briefly. And they know that people like her because they use her in the trailer.
Yeah,
that's
I
true.
remember that.
You know?
She's
but I mean,
marketed
people
enough.
know who Lisa Kudrow is, so
Well, true, I
They know
guess.
who Rogan is, too.
But they know, they know who's Rogan and Efron and Moretz are as well. So, all right, well, I think it's about on par with the first one. It's B- for me.
I leave it with a B.
B-.
All right. Well, up next is Angry Birds the movie, or the Angry Birds movie, I guess is really what it's called.
Angry Flightless Birds. The movie.
Joe, let's hear about it.
Yeah, I'll tell
Yeah, they
you.
don't fly.
Yeah, they don't fly.
Odd
which I guess
twist.
if I had known anything about the game, maybe it wouldn't have surprised me. I'm like, they don't fly? But as you guys may know, it's based on the popular video game franchise, which, as I said, I've never played before. And basically, it's taking place, I guess, like the game, where we're on an island populated by all these happy, flightless birds that are visited by this mysterious group of pigs who are all green. And it's up to 3 unlikely outcasts, all suffering from anger management issues. Well, I think only really 2 of them.
Really, only 2 of them.
But
have
one of
any
them, I'm like, I don't know.
Josh Gad is just
He's just really
there
annoying
for friends.
Yeah, but Red is the main character, played by Jason Sudeikis, and you've got Chuck, that's Josh Gad, and Bomb, Danny McBride, who explodes. Though, once again, anger, but I don't think it's necessarily anger. They
Just
say
unstable.
it is. Unstable. Yeah, unstable. You don't know what's going to happen. But basically, it's their job to figure out what the pigs are up to. I think I talked to you guys about this. I went into this movie with like super low expectations because, video game adaptation, and also I don't know anything about it, and it didn't look like great from the trailers. But I found myself a bit surprised. The animation was actually pretty good. That's what struck me the first, is that I was expecting something much, uglier looking, just less competent, but it was pretty good. It was pleasing to look at for the most part. I thought the main characters were pretty likable, and a lot of the jokes were funny. But I kind of found myself asking, what type of movie is this? And I thought that led to a problem. The jokes are surprisingly adult, and I don't mean that they're necessarily crude or anything, though they sometimes
They're
are.
crude-ish.
They're not always
Yeah,
crude.
no more crude than Zootopia or
Like a
Shrek or
But just the
Minions.
overall tone of the jokes were seeming like they were aiming at a more adult audience. And kids may like it, but that doesn't exactly make it a family film. Up until the end, though, when the story just falls into the very standard type of ending you would expect from a generic family film. So, other than that shift of direction, I thought it was pretty good, but I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say.
Well, maybe I should have let it because I enjoy these games. Have you played the games, Justin?
Oh, yeah. I used to play.
Maybe one of us should have played this. I didn't realize Joe never played the game.
Nope, never have.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's another classic example of why do we get bad video game movies? Because we pick games that don't have storylines that deserve them. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a storyline in Angry Birds in contrast to many of the ones in the past, Doom. But the problem is the storyline is so one note, it's really hard to make a 90-minute movie out of that. For me personally, one of the biggest issues I have is, yes, the animation is competently made, but it's just really, really ugly. And I found myself sort of just getting more and more bothered with it as it goes along. It doesn't really gel well. It looks weird and crude. The jokes I had mixed feelings about because they're not crude enough to make you want to cover your child's ears, but they're still bordering on like super dirty double entendre. But
I'll tell you for a fact, Justin, I was sitting next to a bunch of kids and their mom, and she was like gasping and oh my god a couple times. So
There's a couple lines.
no, there were a couple
for
jokes,
sure.
and I was like, oh. All right, so
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They're pretty close, a couple of them.
oh yeah, no, I completely agree. But for
Well,
me,
don't they use the clucking remark at one point?
Yep.
Like,
Right,
oh,
that's one of them.
Cluck my life. I'm like,
Yeah, clock my life.
yeah.
that's what
I
it
think
was.
that was one of the gasps. Like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
well, they needed to substitute for a bad word, but
No, they didn't necessarily need to have that joke in the movie, though.
well, no.
I mean, I didn't mind it. I liked it, but I'm saying it for the audience. I don't know if that's.
But
a
here's
good
the
thing.
defense, though, Joe. Is that any worse than Fantastic Mr. Fox and Cuss?
Yes.
I thought Mr. Fox was a little more subtle in its humor than Angry Birds was, though.
Way.
The whole tone was kind of like.
I don't know. I mean, if you took out every time they said cuss and threw in the...
But
Yeah,
that
but
was
you're
the
not
joke,
rhyming it. Right, that's
Well, no.
the gag.
though. What is the cuss? It could
Right.
be anything. We don't know. But
it's pretty evident. But
Like if
Cluck.
if I say, you're
do you
a real cuss, or if I say, you're a real blit head, what you see the
fair
difference there.
enough. Okay. But anyways, but for me, the thing that I found probably the most strangely intriguing was in a film comprised of a cast of Jason Sudeikis, who I still stand on my fact that I just don't think he's
Stand
a
on
leading...
your opinion, not a fact.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
fair.
Rephrase. Stand on my point that I think he's not a leading man.
I thought he was hilarious personally, but I like Sudeikis generally.
No, I like him. I like him when he's in a supporting role. I think that fits him so much better. I give you Race as my prime example.
That's a drama as opposed to a comedy, though. You don't think he's funny,
Well,
typically.
that's not entirely true. Like I said, my favorite performance from him is Ark in 30 Rock. But
All right.
But
Continue with the point, though.
Josh Gad, who once again proves
I'm sick of.
I mean,
I'll just say it.
Well, I kept
I'm
he has
sick of it.
Frozen. That's
kept
about it.
Picturing Olaf every time that
Yeah.
character was on screen,
Yeah.
which really bugged me.
I thought McBride, after who knows how many movies, finally stole the show for me. It's like, wow, McBride actually made me like him in a movie. That I feel like
He did that for me, and this is the end.
You liked
I thought
him?
that was just him playing his annoying
Yeah.
self. But
Well, they're all playing exaggerated versions of themselves.
well, that too.
And I hate Danny McBride as a person. So if he playing himself can make me laugh, what does that say?
I guess that's
Good
fair.
performance. Right?
That was pretty
I
good.
typically don't like McBride. I thought he was okay in Pineapple Express and Tropic Thunder, where he played very small roles.
You don't typically like
I
him.
don't typically like him in, I hated him in 30 Minutes or Less, and
I just think he's okay.
yeah, I think he did all right in this. He didn't bother me though, so that was fine. But I think largely this movie just wasn't funny. The bird puns were
Weak.
annoying, never ending for one thing. I thought the voice cast was okay. I mentioned McBride. I thought Sudeikis did okay, but
Agreed.
it's far from his best role. I didn't think the animation was anything that special. What I liked the most about the film is actually the last 20 minutes, like the actual gameplay motif. Joe, I know you probably know at least the basics. You slingshot the birds into the tower and whatever. Okay, well, you slingshot them.
I figured,
they kill the pigs.
Oh, they're going
They
across
destroy
this
their
thing.
houses. They explode some of them.
I mean,
this, that, and the other thing.
Each section they do that, it's pretty clear that they're homaging something from
Yes.
the game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's very clear.
And I thought that they put that to very good use. I thought it was clever. I think any kid that plays the game, which is certainly in the millions, would appreciate the way that
It's a good
stacked
homage.
up. And that really is the only thing that really saved it from a super negative grade. It's still not
It just
a
comes
good
so late in
grade
the
for me,
game.
but right, that's why. Like it's a great ending, Powerhouse. I liked it, but I maybe chuckled a couple of times. Never once was I uproariously laughing or knee slapping or anything. Yeah, the humor really didn't do it for me. I don't know why, because I don't mind a pun, but
Less is more.
well, I think some of these were just so easy and
Yeah.
not entertaining, really. A lot of odd music choices, too, which
Yeah.
brings back to Joe's point of the who really is the movie for, because there's a lot of
I liked a lot of the music choices.
well, I did too, but we're older people.
That's what I'm saying.
We're not, 6-year-old might know Never Gonna Give You Up from Rickrolling, but they're not
course.
gonna know, I mean, they don't know who Daft Punk is, that's for sure.
Oh man, that was
Piggy, what was it, Piggy Punk or Daft Pig or something?
old. Something like that.
Yeah. They were robot DJs.
Yeah,
That didn't do it for me.
I don't think it was aimed at a
thought that
6-year-old
was lame.
audience. I thought a lot of the humor was actually pretty adult, and those references are pretty adult.
I think
Subject
that's the
matter
crisis
was-
of the film, though. I think
Oh,
they
yeah.
were trying to go like a Zootopia route where it's like, let's have some adult humor, but be appealing to kids. I think some adults may get something out of it. I don't think the kids will get more out of it than they're going to the Apple store and they're eating an apple. Ha ha,
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is an example of the joke. Some of the jokes are made for babies and some are made for, adults. And I don't think they mesh well.
I mean, there's a way to split the difference, but this clearly doesn't have an idea of how to pull that off.
No, and my example, I think Zootopia did.
Oh yeah.
And we could come up with countless others, I think.
I think it's probably a little bit of an unfair comparison, Zootopia versus the Angry Birds.
Well,
movie,
all right,
you know.
Minions then.
Well, to be
maybe.
fair-
All right, that's probably
To be
Oh,
fair,
more
the
average
Angry Birds is probably about 3 years late to the party.
Yeah, that's
I mean, if
probably
they were
true.
going to do an Angry Birds movie, they probably should have done it in like 2012 or 2011
That is true.
when it was still fairly pertinent.
Yes, I agree with that. But late to the party or otherwise, I think I would feel the same if I watched it in 2012.
About right.
So, for me, the Angry Birds movie gets a C-.
A C for me.
B-.
All right. Well, Justin, our final film is The Nice Guys.
All right. When a famous, dare I say, actress named Misty mysteriously is found dead, a dorky PI named Holland March, played by Ryan Gosling, is hired to investigate. Though when March's investigation leads him to track a hippie named Amelia, played by Margaret Qualley, and running into the likes of rough and tough Private Eye Jackson Healy, played by Russell Crowe, the two combine their efforts to solve the case while unraveling an even deeper conspiracy. Keith David, Matt Bomer, and Kim Basinger have supporting roles. So, after Lethal Weapon and needless other things, it's pretty evident Shane Black knows his way around an action comedy, knows his way around buddy comedies, but just doesn't hit home as well as some of his best stuff. I know Joe has problems with Iron Man 3. We're not going to talk about it.
Oh, please, we can talk about it.
That movie stinks.
No time, Joe. No time. But for me, here's the biggest setback for me.
Okay.
I had fun watching this movie. I want to preface that right now.
Okay.
But the biggest issue I had with this as a buddy comedy is I just don't think Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe's characters had chemistry. But what kind of saved it for that, though, was the scenarios that they got into were really funny. The problem is they're really few and far between. Like, I would say I didn't get my first major laugh from this movie until probably half an hour in. And it's a great joke. But it's no thanks to Crowe and Gosling's efforts. It's just the fact that it's situationally hilarious. When they're dealing with probably one of the most awkward protests I've ever seen. But
That was funny.
Oh, it is. The caper actually unfolds at a nice pace. I was surprised at how well it moved. I thought for 2 hours there's going to be like 8 different subplots that were going to go nowhere. Particularly when I learned that this was supposed to be a TV pilot. But it unfolds at a nice pace. I just wish there was more chemistry like Lethal Weapon, and I think it would have really come together as a kind of period piece buddy comedy neo-noir. I don't know. Where do you guys look at it?
Well, Dan,
I told you this would be the talker. I loved this movie. I thought it was hilarious the whole way through. I got my first enormous laugh probably 5 minutes in. Joe was sitting next to me. We were like the only ones in the theater that were like howling.
We both thought it was pretty funny.
This thing is great. I disagree completely. I think they have really good chemistry. I think Gosling's, his like wheezing and like high pitched screaming. I mean, that is great. I do think these guys have chemistry. I liked how they weaved his daughter character in and out of the film.
She was great.
I thought she was really
that
funny,
little
actually.
actress is real good. I think I've seen her in stuff, but I couldn't place her.
She was like my favorite part of the movie.
You know, I thought that the script was crackling. I thought the action scenes were well done. I thought the mystery was good. I mean, for me, this was a big, big surprise. I didn't know what to expect really going in. I mean, I like one of the actors. Russell Crowe is very hit or miss for me.
That's fair.
Especially since the singing.
Yeah.
But
I guess it can't be helped.
But that doesn't come up here, so
no.
Thank God. Yeah, I mean, Joe, what do you think? You were laughing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty funny for the most part. I admit, I don't know. I thought most of the jokes worked for me, and I thought the chemistry was a big part of that. I do agree that the situational comedy is probably one reason it excels, but I thought they definitely worked pretty well with it.
Like, individually, they're good characters. It's just, I don't think as the Murtaugh Riggs route, it just doesn't come together.
Well, I mean, they're not those characters exactly. I mean, for instance, and I don't think that, yes, comparing them to that, they're not as good. You know, in that sense, no. I do agree.
But I think they're easily as good as Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah, that's good.
Another black
You
movie.
wouldn't necessarily put those two actors together, but it works pretty well. Mm-hmm. You know.
Oh, yeah. I'm okay with unlikely team-ups. It's just, if you're going to do that, you have to make sure that they're so radically different they can play off each other. They're quirky and they're entertaining, but I don't think they ever mesh as well as some of Shane Black's other stuff.
They're pretty different, though, as characters. I think that's what they were going for.
I think Gosling's is. I mean, Russell Crowe, we get little bits and pieces of where they're going with his character, but it's so few and far between, they don't really ever go that far into it.
Well, I think he's just a more consistent character. He's more simple in that sense, in terms of what his motivations and his problems are.
Gosling's more of a wild card.
Yeah, and I mean, his gets resolved, I think, by the end. I think that there's enough of his arc, you know.
Oh, yeah, to varying degrees.
But he's the straight man, you know, in this scenario.
No, it is.
And I thought that's fine.
Which is appropriate.
Yeah.
Because
him bouncing around.
Well, his history with the comedy, I don't know as you know, Gosling's got a nice hold in many, you know, both dramatic and comedy roles. I think Crow we normally think of either in action or drama.
Divining
Sounds
things.
about right.
Or divining water,
Yeah.
one example.
Yeah.
He was okay in that
that
movie,
happened.
actually.
Yeah, it was alright.
Yeah.
No, one of the least.
Better than the singing.
Yeah. Well,
The singing diviner would have been horrible.
I don't know. That's
I
the
don't know if
parody
the
out
world's
there.
ready for that.
Yeah. But, no, I definitely think these guys both have chemistry.
Yeah, and
With each other and with his daughter.
I thought the editing was smooth for the pacing, and I thought the supporting cast was good. Mystery
I thought
was
the art
pretty
direction was really well done.
good. Good capture of the 70s. It seemed genuine to me, and it's hard to pull that off. Mm-hmm. You know, so...
Yeah, the set design is great in this film.
Do you know about the TV pilot origins?
I didn't, but I'm
makes
glad they
sense.
didn't do that because we already did The Good Guys, which was Colin Hanks and Bradley Whitford, which I didn't actually watch, but from the previews it seemed like something similar to set in present day.
Oh, jeez.
You
so
know,
well.
I mean, it only lasted like half a season, so
Oh,
I
guess not.
don't know, but
The ending, I definitely could see the pilot, though, where they talk about it. We were joking about there maybe being a sequel that they're
yeah,
having.
it seemed like they definitely sort of
I know they've been talking about
they
it.
definitely like tongue-in-cheeked it open for a sequel.
And, I mean, that definitely seems like the end of a pilot episode, and then they'd have scenarios like that every week.
Yeah.
I could totally see it.
Yeah, I could see it, but like I said, I'm glad they went the feature film route instead of a series.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, they hide their
That's-
TV origins well. I mean,
Yeah,
there's-
it's fairly done on TV
Yeah.
to death.
That type of thing, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, I thought it was a fun movie. It's just, I wish it came to life more than it does. I just don't think it stacks up with some of his better work.
Well, it's definitely one of my favorites. Now, I've never seen Lethal Weapon, so
Oh.
you've got me at a loss there, but definitely better than the others I've seen. I loved it. It's an A.
I leave with a B.
A minus.
All right. Well, that will do it. Just throw on this week's show, and we'll see what happens next week. Probably more of the same. There's only 2 real big releases, and we'll talk about some of the smaller ones off air and see what we can come up with. But,
Yeah.
So if you have not subscribed yet to our channel, go ahead and do that, and you can join us on